Okay, we're going to change the tire today. We're going to assume you've got a flat on the road and that you've got the right equipment with you. We'll go over that in just a second. But you got a flat tire on your bike. First thing you've got to do is get the tire off the bike. So what we're going to do is flip the bike over to get the tire off and then lay the bike down. One of the things you got to think about when you flip the bike over is what's going to happen to the stuff you've got on the bike. If you've got a bento box, you got to worry about it's going to spill out. In this case, I've got a water bottle and don't want your water everywhere, don't want to lose your water. So the first thing you need to do, take the water bottle out and then flip your bike over. Steady it, especially if you've got a tri-bike, steady it. Loosen up your skewer a good bit and pull it out, okay? You may also need to loosen your brake lever to make sure that you can pull your wheel and tire out. Now you've got the wheel off with the flat tire. Let's lay the bike down. Okay, and then have a seat on the ground with your flat tire. Now here's what you need to have to change your tires on the road. Of course, there's inside this old glove, there's a tube. We need to have a gas canister, tire levers, you need 2 of them, and the filler nozzle that goes with the gas canister. All right, we're going to flatten this. There we go. Now we've got a flat tire. Now what you're going to want to do, if your tire's not completely flat, is open up this valve and make sure you let the remaining air out. There may still be some in it depending on the type of flat you have. Okay? Then turn it around to where you can see the valve stem, and you want to take one of your tire levers and notice how it's hooked. Okay, you want to take the hook and get under the bead of the tire itself and then hook the lever onto your spoke. And you take your other lever, again, same way in terms of getting the hook up under the tire. Go down about 2 inches. Okay, get it hooked like that and start trying to pull this around. Okay, now you see that's why we've done this. Hook this lever here. It holds the tire out. Otherwise what will happen is it'll chase you as you go around and go back under the wheel. This keeps it out of the wheel. So you go around and loosen the entire tire. Now really you don't want the tire to come loose from the wheel. This was becoming too easy to change. But regardless, you've now got it loose. What you want to do now is take the inner tube out, leaving only the valve stem in. Pull your tire back. Now pull your inner tube out. Now one side of your tire should remain in. Ours popped out all the way around. That's kind of unusual. But you want one side like that in, the wheel still, wheel still, okay? The other side out. Then you take your fresh inner tube that you had in your saddlebag. We'll make sure that you take the cap off and the securing nut off, so that you've just got an open valve stem. Open the valve on the end of the valve stem, and either take your gas and release a little bit in here, or I recommend you just blow it up a small amount to give it some shape. Like that, then close it. Now you're going to go around and find the hole that the valve stem goes through. As you can see it there. what I recommend you do is sort of lay the tube out against the tire first, so you've got everything kind of in position. Then come and insert the stem through that hole and tuck it under the tire. What you want to do now is work the tube around to where you're inside the tire, all the way around. I would like to point out while I'm doing this that this is not the fastest way. It's the easiest and most reliable way to do it. There are faster ways to change. If you were a cycling racer in an amateur race, you might want to go with one of the fast ways. But in this case, we want something that's reliable. Okay, now we've got the inner tube tucked inside the tire all the way around as much as we can get it easily tucked. Okay, now what we want to do is start over at the valve stem end of the or side of the wheel, and that's where you want to first start tucking your tire's bead. This is what we call the bead inside the wheel. So you're going to tuck it in. You can feel it kind of snap into place. Make sure the inner tube doesn't get pinched between the tire and the wheel. Go around, tuck it in. And this is kind of why I recommend you're sitting on the ground doing this. You get it about halfway, and it's going to start getting tough to do. So at this point, you see we've got it tucked in, all except about a foot. We're going to open this valve and let that little bit of air that we blew into the inner tube out. Okay, by pushing it in with it open. Okay. And then we're going to go back here. And this is the hard part. We've got to tuck this in where it's really very tight. I don't recommend you use the tire tool, which some people do, because you can pinch and tear your inner tube and it'll go flat on you again immediately. So instead, what you need to do is sort of gently roll, okay? And you've got to roll from both sides, or else it'll just unroll as you go around here. It'll just unroll. So we're rolling for both sides, and you see it popped in. That went easier than a lot will do. A lot of tire and wheel combinations are tight. It may take two people working together, okay? And that's something you'll need to practice. But now we've got the inner tube inside the tire. At this point, we're going to go ahead and partially fill it up. So we take our gas canister, and I prefer the type of filler nozzle that you simply screw the canister in. It doesn't have a valve handle. You screw it in all the way on this one. Yours may be different. Screw it all the way in, okay? The way you release the gas out of this into the tire is you start to slightly unscrew it. You'll see in a moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around here. We're going to make sure that's open. We opened it earlier. We slip this guy on. Sometimes it helps to take your fingers and push, so you can push it on pretty tightly. Hold it and slightly unscrew it. Okay, right there, just until the tire starts to fill. Because what we want to do is do that. That seats that bead, and then we want to go around and make sure there's no inner tube popping out in between the wheel and the tire. That'll cause an immediate pinch flat if you've got that. This looks good on this side. We'll flip it over, check the other side. And it looks good over here too. Now then, we can finish filling the tire. And what you do is you basically release the entire canister into the tire. Make sure it's good and firm, and then close the valve. Okay, at this point, we're ready to put the tire back on. So we're going to do the reverse of what we did before. Flip the bike upside down. Steady the bike. Okay. You see we've got it inside the fork securely. When it's all the way down, I even lean against it. You want to tighten your skewer. Now you can flip your bike over. Don't forget to pick up your tools, and especially don't forget to dispose of your inner tube, stick it in your jersey, and then at your first opportunity, put it in the trash. The other big problem, rear wheels. So when you're changing a rear tire, you've got a couple of extra steps, otherwise it's the same process. But one of the things you want to do, you see right now, I've got it on the large ring up front and the large cog in the back. Very hard to change this way. What you want to do, have somebody help you if you can, but you want to shift it into the small ring up front, and then flick your lever several times here, get down to the smallest cog in back. That way you have as much loose chain as possible. Now then, again, flip the bike over, open up the skewer, and what I found helps is to pull the rear derailleur and chain out of the way and pull this up and out of the chain like that. Change the tire, and then here's the hard part, how to get it back in. Very easy. There's the way we left it. Just simply grab a little bit of chain, and that's all you have to do is get the cassette, get the gears inside of the loop of chain. That's all. It doesn't matter where you do it, as long as it's inside that loop. Okay, and then you can pull that back again the same way you did when you got it off. Get it back in where you want to tighten it securely. That's all you got to do. So once again, there we have a flat, small gear here, small ring in front. That way we have a loose chain. Pull this guy back, pull him out. To put it back, you just do the same thing in reverse. That's it. We've changed our tires.